This is TWiT.
Jersey fudge. So this is part of the Paradise Papers that came out this weekend. This was a kind of a follow-up to a previous massive leak of information of financial records, and primarily coming from a company called Appleby, which is a law firm in the Canary Islands, which helps big companies and high-wealth individuals use, and I will point this out right up front, completely legally use tax havens to stash their money. And, of course, Apple very famously started a subsidiary in Ireland where the corporate tax used to be very, very low, transferred a bunch of IP, of intellectual property assets there, took a lot of the money they made and paid the Irish subsidiary for use of that property and was able to offshore billions of dollars. Well, remember, the EU censured Ireland and asked them for hundreds of millions of dollars because it was being used.
Billions from Apple.
Billions. Not from Apple, though, ironically from Ireland.
Right.
So
they told Ireland, EU told Ireland, you have to charge Apple more.
Yeah, and Ireland did change its rules. But the island of Jersey apparently has a corporate tax rate of 0%. And so, according to the Paradise Papers, Apple, Google as well, Apple's the biggest, but many other companies, and the Queen of England, and the finance advisor to Justin Trudeau, and a great many high-worth individuals, including our Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross, have been using these, again, legal tax dodges to stash money. I think Apple has $282 billion in Jersey, but Apple denies it. Right?
They put up a news post I think it was late last night, right, where they tried to explain their side of the story. So
nobody's ever said Apple's doing something illegal. And they're doing what you would expect, what shareholders anyway would expect, which is I think paying as little tax as they can legally.
And I think all of us do that. Like, I have an accountant.
But you can't do the double Dutch with the Irish sandwich.
I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money to do that.
You don't have enough money.
But let me tell you, Leo, you know what would happen if I had enough money? I would use it.
Well, so you can't blame Apple for doing this, but you can blame politicians. By the way, here's a map from Wikipedia where you see the red countries. These countries have politicians who are exposed in the Paradise Papers, who are using these tax dodges. Now you know why it's legal in so many countries. Because, and in fact, the new tax law that's being proposed at Congress right now makes these loopholes, one would hope would make them illegal, gives you more loopholes, more ways to do this.
The only argument I've seen really against this is the moral one, where it says that, Apple takes a moral stance on many, many issues, including accessibility and civil rights and civil liberties, and they should have a moral obligation to pay as much tax as they possibly can.
Well, that's absurd. Like, I'm just sorry, it's just absurd.
It's absurd. And even Tim Cook has said that the laws need to be reformed. Nevertheless, so Facebook does it, Uber does it, Nike does it, Walmart does it, Allianz does it, Siemens does it, McDonald's does it, Yahoo does it, Allergan, the makers of Botox, do it. Billions of dollars. And now what's happened, though, is that puts a tax burden on you and me. We're not rich enough to do this. So we pay more tax. I pay more. TWiT pays more taxes than Apple does by far.
No, you don't.
And it's still worth
not dollar-wise percentage.
I mean, they are 7% of Ireland's economy. I mean,
that's Apple's justification. They'd say, well, we pay more taxes than anybody in the world.
An average of 21%.
But they make more money than anybody in the world.
Well, no, and I also think America is unique in that they want you to pay taxes for money you are earn outside America, whether you're an individual or a company, and not all countries do that.
I understand that. Yet Apple is transferring intellectual property assets out of the United States to Ireland and now to Jersey to reduce their tax liability. I agree. What are you going to say to Apple? You got to pay more even though you don't have to?
And Amazon's looking at moving into a new city. This happens in the United States too, by the way. It's not, like cities give, states provide companies with tax breaks. I mean, you want to talk about the film industry, you get a 25% tax break to film in Louisiana or in New Mexico, or, and that's money that it's like a tax credit that comes back to you. I mean, it's an incredible, so the competition over taxes is basically how countries and states and cities market themselves to corporations.
Well, to that point, Ireland, in 1 year, its gross domestic product went up 26% when Apple transferred everything over there. So, yes, but now Jersey gets nothing because they're not charging any tax. Jersey just gets some bankers rich, I guess.
They get their name in the press, Leo.
Yeah,
So
no one knew about them before that. Now everybody knows about it.
Yeah, Apple's being sued for $14.5 billion in back taxes. But I have to say, by the way, Bono also does this. The president of Liberia does it.
Essentially, that everybody who wants to have some control over how they spend their money, whether it's Bono wanting to give more money away,
right.
They don't want to give it to the government. They don't want to. I mean, they don't want to. They want to give it to what they think is important.
Queen of England does it,
and not have it, be squandered by
Jean Chrétien,
whatever they disagree
your
with.
former prime minister, does it.
So Shawinigan Strangler.
What we need to do, frankly, is we need to call Congress and say, you got to eliminate these loopholes.
No, it's not going to happen.
It's hard because
I think we need to get realistic.
You know why it's not going to happen? Because these people pay Congress a lot of money to make sure that they don't pay as much tax.
And it's not just the Congress; it's the parliaments in other countries. They benefit from this fight, like materially. So it's very hard to get them to move off.
A dozen members of the Trump cabinet are in the documents.
Yeah.
Robert Mercer and Sheldon Adelson are in the doc. Basically, any high-value individual is a fool if they're paying taxes at this point.
You pay people just to make that go away, and most of them, probably half of them, don't even know it's happening. Like they just, they have an accounting firm that they have $100 million and they hand it off to a manager, and the manager makes sure that they pay the minimum amount of taxes they can do legally.
Madonna does it. Paul Allen does it. Wesley Clark does it.
It's pretty much.
I'm feeling like an idiot for paying all these taxes. I pay almost half my income in taxes.
So do I.
I feel like an idiot.
But again, if I somehow sold my company for $100 million, I would hand it off to a managing firm, and they would do exactly the same thing. And I wouldn't know about it or think about it, or it wouldn't bother me. It would just go. I would hand it to them, and then they give me a proper return, and that's how that stuff happens.
According to the Boston Consulting Group, the amount of money involved here is about $10 trillion. Apple's just a fraction of that.
A drop in the billion bucket.
Yeah, but I do feel like. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's offensive, but it's not Apple's fault. I understand that.
There's so many. I guess that there's so many places that happens that it's like that one's an easy one to see. But you look at high frequency trading. That is the leech that sits on top of Wall Street. Just sucks money out for no value at all. I mean, and we know people just don't understand it well enough to argue about it. So we can see this one, but I don't think that it's it's a small number compared to what
I'm really much more offended by what a lot of large corporations in the tech industry, the games they play with labor to make sure that they will never convert an hourly temporary worker into a permanent worker who gets benefits. That's I love Amazon. I love them for a great many reasons. I think they're doing a lot of really great work in tech, but I hate the fact that they seem to stack the deck so that. Yeah, we'll make sure that someone gets fired before they get to the next level of employment, where, again, they're going to have to start paying them for actually listing them as real employees, where they're obligated to get them insurance. They're really obligated to give them some protection on the job. It's not just Amazon. There are a lot of companies that are like this.
It's not just corporations. Government agencies do the same thing, where they put people on unemployment and take them. They put them on and take them off just to keep their budget controlled. And it is everybody finds an angle. My mother decided to work for Head Start for a little while because she was really excited about it. And then when she's watched what they were doing with the employment, she started asking questions, and then she was fired.
Yeah.
It's like she was like, I don't think this is right. And then they were like,
again, it's okay for Apple to say that, yeah, we have a business in the Canary Islands. It's a food service company that Apple runs that makes $128 billion a year. That's why we need to keep moving that money around there. What I don't like is making sure that, hey, you know what? All these employees we've had in this company that we bought last year, 300 employees. If we fire them all, then rehire them all as consultants. It's like, no, right. Don't fire them all and rehire them as consultants. You're not hiding money here. These are real lives. So that's what I wish that were headline news every single week, as opposed to this company's hiding tax money someplace.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To add insult to injury, Jersey Fudge says he can't even buy an iPhone 10 in Jersey.
What? Did the one they had sell out?
They're still
no. You can't buy Apple. You can't buy one in Jersey. There's no Apple store. So he said he had to mess with his postal codes to pretend he was in the UK.
But wasn't it one of the 55 launch countries? And I thought we joked that they would have like one iPhone.
Yeah, I don't know.
At a convenience store or something.
But still, I mean, the community is benefiting. It's just like the sod houses of Oklahoma. When they're settling, they would build houses out of sod because that was the most available material. They're building houses out of bricks of $100 bills furnished by American.
Yeah.
New,
and by the way,
schools, new hospitals,
insulation value when you build your buildings out of money. The insulation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good for heating and cooling.
The key is to crumple it up into little balls because it creates more of an air gap.
You know,
that's what I find.
The coins are not
and I think that $100 bills actually insulate better than $1.
Yeah, well, the best is those bundles, you know, those $10,000 bundles.
It's the cryptocurrency. They're the best insulators.
Thank you, Jersey Fudge. I said Canary Islands, which is a very nice place.
I've never been to
Cayman Islands, not the
Cayman Islands.
You got to holiday in the Canary Islands, Alex.
Yeah.